In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
Welcome on into the No Off Days podcast. I'm Scott Smith. We are at Chris Cato. BK is in the booth. It's nice to be back in the seat. Took a little time off recently. And
what's the name of the podcast again?
What did I say? No Off Days?
While you were gone, I suggested
something else?
we change it to some off days and have the sod pod, because you did take some off days.
Well, we love the irony of taking off days in the middle of taping an off days No Off Days podcast.
Well earned by you, though.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, it came at an interesting time in the season. At the start of football season, that's when you want to be around.
Well, it hasn't really started yet, Scott.
Well,
You're
the
fine.
training camp is here, and that's the football season. So I feel like while I was away, we missed quite a few things. A lot of things seemed to kind of roll out as soon as I left. I was getting some notifications as best I could, staying in tune, but I feel like you guys might need to get me up to speed here a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that happened. Your Rays fell apart. Our Rays fell apart. I don't think they've won a series since you've left.
Well, they were on a downhill slide before I left, and it seems like they can't get anything done on the road, and this is the portion of the schedule where a lot of these games, unfortunately, I guess, are taking place on the road. So they're, as we tape this, they're in the middle of a 12-game road trip out west, and I think they've lost like their last 6 series. But I missed the trade deadline acquisitions. And our guy Taj Bradley is gone. Zach Littell is gone. I mean, a lot of guys. And then Jonathan Randa got hurt.
Hey, Jonathan Randa is out for a while. Yeah, and it was one of those trade deadline deals. We were all sitting around waiting for things to start popping. And I don't know, it didn't seem like they made any vast improvements with the deals they made.
Well, I'm trying to read it because like a lot of these guys, they bring in are names maybe you're not as familiar with, which is very typical of the Rays. Yeah. That's not to say that they don't create, turn them into names. But yeah, you're like, I don't know. Is this a buyer, seller? What is this team? Maybe a little bit of both. It's at the very least they reshuffled the deck, right? Yeah. So they got a new pitcher in Adrian Hauser. They say goodbye to Taj Bradley and Zach Littell. And then Jax, the new guy, Jax the pitcher, Jax.
That's what we'll call him now.
Yeah.
Jax the pitcher.
That's not when your last name is what you hope to not surrender. as Jax. It's like
I never thought of it that way, but yeah.
It's like a quarterback named Pickett. You don't want that. That's
one of those
good.
too. Yeah.
Or a kicker named Blewett. So I feel like I missed a few things. I don't know. Let's bring BK and BK. You actually live up to that's what we named the nod pod after you because you actually don't take any off days.
Well, I've had a stretch there recently.
All right.
That was a good stretch.
Yeah. Well, when the body breaks down on you can't anticipate that kind of stuff. Is there anything other than a training camp that?
Training camp.
I know Baker had a owie on his hand, and he's
a little bit.
Okay.
And we got a new quarterback.
That happened. Yes. Teddy Bridgewater.
Which was kind of a surprise. Came out of nowhere, actually.
Teddy was coaching high school football, wasn't he?
For a little bit.
South Florida, correct?
Well, he did play last season with the Lions, but I think even that he was kind of called in for, some late season duty. But, I don't know how to read that. I don't know if Kyle Trask is kind of going to
not developing like they would hope.
Well, I mean, we've kind of heard these rumors all along, with Trask. But, Jason Light said that he's still the backup quarterback. Okay. So whether he's the backup to Bridgewater, maybe that's what he meant.
Backup.
He's the backup quarterback to Teddy Bridgewater. No.
Well, he's got experience, and that's what nobody behind Baker has. So if Baker has to bounce ideas off somebody, who's he go to? Now he's got Bridgewater.
And Jason Light revealed that he was actually on their radar back in 2014, the year that they drafted Mike Evans. Later at the end of the first round, Teddy Bridgewater was selected, I think 32nd overall. So, but he mentioned he was on the radar then, and then before they got Brady, that he was a guy that was behind door number 2. So it could have been a different TB.
So we've wanted Bridgewater for over a decade now. Finally got
our guy.
I'm glad we didn't get him in 2014. That would have deprived us of some great Jameis years.
Yeah.
Sure would.
Right?
By the way, Jameis showed off his new duds. He tweeted out some pictures of him in his Giants unis.
Yeah.
He looks happy.
What number did he go with there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see the number. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, back to the Bucs, though. One thing you don't want to hear about this time of year is injuries. And a young guy we were really excited about, one of our draft picks that you have interviewed on this very podcast, David Walker. Sounds like he's done for the season.
That ACL, right? Not good. Yeah, I know. That's just unfortunate because I was really looking forward to seeing what he could do on the NFL gridiron this year as a rookie. I mean, he put up amazing numbers at UCA the last few seasons. So, yeah, that. But you didn't tell me. I think maybe the biggest story that I missed was what happened to the Seattle Kraken mascot. Have you seen this?
Yes, I did.
You did see this, or what nearly happened?
Well, first of all, I didn't know what they had for a mascot. Turns out it's a troll.
Yeah. Who knew? But a grizzly bear nearly ripped its little mascot head off. Yeah. I mean, we sometimes, can mock the mascot, life of the mascot, but you don't really have good peripheral vision, and I think that was evident in this video. So they're fly fishing out in Alaska, creating some promo shoot, and with a player, and all of a sudden this giant grizzly bear comes up, and he actually rushes.
He charged
the mascot.
Yeah.
They didn't seem panicked at all.
And I don't know if you guys have ever fly fished before. I had the pleasure of doing that in Alaska many years ago. The water's moving fast, so you cannot run. Like you're doing a trudge. You're trudging. The bear could run fine, as you saw.
Yeah, he was fine. Yeah.
But you're standing there in waders. I bet the old mascot dropped a couple of hockey pucks in those waders. I mean, did you see? I mean, Brian, did you see the video? The thing. I mean, it didn't get like close like Nita Scott close, but it got close enough.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I instantly think, and it's probably me, that come on, this has got to be fake, because that bear did take some charges.
You think it was an animatronic bear?
I don't know, but maybe it was a trained bear. But everybody's, I mean, we would have never talked about the Kraken mascot.
It was juggling. It was
a trained bear.
But like the Cleveland Browns helmet reveal, and the guy falls in the water. That was all kind of staged now, and then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, gosh, was this staged now?
Well, the first thing you think is AI, but it wasn't.
No.
And you had the player there, I think it was Josh Hayden, saying, no, this really happened. And
they did not seem panicked. I will say that. Like, I don't know. If I was, first of all, if I'm in that group, I'm ripping the mascot head off and offering it. Eat it. Take it.
Right.
Go. But like they didn't seem that panicked in the video.
Maybe I was projecting my panic onto it, but I thought the mascot seemed his troll head kept turning around like what's happening
His
here?
eyes were bugging out. Yeah, that's true.
I think the play is, if you're attacked though, you want to be in the mascot head, right? Because you just hope the bear goes after head and it gets enough of the head to be satisfied.
Yeah, it's like the Russian nesting dolls.
Yes. Yeah, take the outer layer and don't eat the creamy soft center, please.
The bear's like, oh, there's more. Yeah. I get to unwrap another head. Anyway, I thought that was the biggest storyline that I missed while I was gone.
I thought Hulk Hogan's death was the biggest miss. A local hero. Well, not just a local hero, obviously an icon, but that was, we've had many of from our childhood wrestlers pass away, unfortunately. Many of them live in this area, and so that was one, though, that was surprising. Heart attack, a cardiac arrest, and just had the funeral for him a couple of days ago. And it's always times like this you hear about all the work that people of his stature do behind the scenes for community groups and youth that they didn't take any credit for. And you like to hear that kind of thing.
Really? Like what? What did he do?
Well, he supported so many youth organizations in the Clearwater area.
Yeah.
He supported a lot of people in the Clearwater area with hurricane relief after we had those awful storms last year. And, local businesses gave them grant money to get back on their feet and that kind of thing. And, kind of kept it under wraps.
Well, he was very formative in my childhood years. That was the era of WWE wrestling WWF,
right.
Actually then wrestling that I was watching when I was a young man, and who didn't want to rip their T-shirt off after watching
always
Hogan go
crazy. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Yeah.
Or eat your prayers and say your vitamins and
one
be
of
a
those
good
two.
kid. And he was an icon. And then he went bad for a while. I didn't like the Hollywood Hogan.
Well, you got to reinvent yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You turn heel, and that's what you do in the sport to kind of stay relevant. But he was a man that transcended the sport. Was he number one on your list?
He was mine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a big, I've said this before, but Brutus the Barber Beefcake. But it was because I felt like everybody was after Hogan, But they teamed up for many years and were, good guys together. Who was your number one wrestler, Brian?
Shoot. I mean, it all started with Hogan. I mean, that's where Hogan's the one that really got me into it.
You're probably a Ric Flair guy.
Well, I was a little bit before in Greenville, where I kind of teenage
He's
years.
Gonna go local.
Boy.
Yeah, I mean, but no, that was
You
like
and
Dusty Rhodes.
Bullet Bob Armstrong here?
No, I worked at a quick story. I worked at a grocery store right there on the interstate, and they would wrestle Monday nights in Greenville, tape it and everything. I'd be there big thing. They were based out of Charlotte, so Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Rock and Roll Express, all those guys would come up, drive back to Charlotte, and they would stop right by this gas station by my the job I worked at, the grocery store. So I would go up there, plan my time right after work, and would see all those guys come in. It was awesome seeing those guys, like all out of character, good guys mingling with bad guys. It was kind of a
What were they in there buying? Just some
Slim
slushies?
Jims.
Or
just
something?
like
they were snapping
well,
into
some
Slim
they were
Jims.
a couple 6-packs, 12-packs for the
Yeah,
road up to
sounds
Charlotte.
about right.
Yeah. But it was that was my formative years. But yeah, Hogan, man, that was a
Iconic.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I saw him one time on a sideline at a Bucs game, standing next to him. And for as big as he was, on the screen, he was even bigger in real life. I mean, this guy, huge.
Yeah.
Like you read the numbers, but then when you see him, it's like, what was he, 6'7"?
He wrestled at 6'6" or 6'7", yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a giant mountain of a man. So yeah, it's sad. It is very sad, and it's sad to see him leave us. But he left a lot of good memories, and if you can remember his slogan that you eat your prayers and say your vitamins, then he left his mark on you.
You'll
clearly.
be okay.
All right, cool. BK, what do we got on today's big show?
This may be a first, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first minister that we have on our show tonight? Field
Minister?
Yates?
Is he a minister?
Field's middle name is Minister. How about that?
Okay. How about that? Digging. He was
Field
digging.
Yates.
Field Minister Yates?
Yes,
Okay.
man. So I'll call it. We'll claim that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. He's
So
ESPN.
he's a pastor and a pastor.
Ooh,
Field
very good,
and a minister.
Cato.
Is that right?
You guys. Too much.
Very good. He's going to join us, talk a little bit of NFL. NFL's here, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think he's going to help us get our fantasy football.
I hope so. I
set.
finished last in my league last year.
We're going to have to. Did you?
No, second to last, yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well have been last. It felt like last. Yeah.
It's always nice when he finishes last. And this was not. Was this our
No,
league?
this was a hard league against people that really know what they're doing. And play for real prizes,
Yeah.
too, might I add.
Well, hey, take it up with Mark Wilson. Very good. And then at the end of the program.
Into the program, a new game. Scott, you were gone. I started tinkering around and came up with this new game. It's kind of like Closest to the Pin is what I named it. I don't know if it's a great name.
Okay. I've
Give
heard
you
of it.
questions and you two guess at the answer, and whoever gets it closer will get the point.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so the questions are so hard,
They're
we're
so
not,
hard
we're not
that
going to
we
get
can't-
it exactly right, but if you get close.
If you get exactly right, you get bonus points. How about that?
Oh, I like
Okay.
that.
Very good. All right, we'll catch up with you momentarily,
Awesome,
BK. Thanks. If you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/nodpod. If you're watching, you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone, zap the QR code on the screen, and head to our show page. Feel free to leave a comment on our YouTube site as well, and leave a 5-star on iTunes. Please subscribe, fox13news.com/nodpod. So as we left you last week, we're continuing our breakdown of the NFL as we go division by division, leading you up to the start of the National Football League season. And last week it was the AFC East. So why don't we jump into the NFC East?
Let's do
this
it,
week.
yeah.
Last year we had 2 playoff teams emerge from the NFC East. One, no surprise at all, it was the Philadelphia Eagles, ended up winning the whole thing. And then the other one, probably a surprise with first-year quarterback Jaden Daniels. So we'll tee this up. We'll go backwards. We'll work fourth to first. And you can tee up the team that you think is going to drag down the bottom of this division in the NFC
So I'm
East.
the first one of us two that gets to have the Giants finishing in
Well,
the
you
bottom.
don't know that.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be the Giants. Look, did some things in the offseason to bolster the defense. They signed a cornerback the guy out of New Orleans that should be really good. Good pickup there, and did some things along the defensive line. I think the defense will be the best part of this team, but there's just so many. You go out and get Russell Wilson, 36 years old. What is he at that age? Can he, rediscover some of that magic? He was okay with the Steelers last year. They draft Jackson Dart. I kind of thought since they signed Russell, they wouldn't draft a quarterback and would use some of that capital to go get Russell some weapons. They didn't. And I just think based on schedule alone here, we are looking at a very tough season here. Most difficult schedule in the NFL this season if you base it on opponents' projected win totals. Vegas has their total at 5.5, and I think it's probably not getting to that. I look at them going 5-12, and this probably being Brian Daboll's and maybe Joe Shane, the GM's last season with the Giants.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I am on board with you there. I think the Giants are going to drag up the bottom again. They were 3-14 last year. They did not pick up a division win last year, and I think that's going to change this year. I think they'll be slightly improved. Again, you start with the team and the quarterback position, and again, like you have, this is kind of, we discussed this before the show began, but with the Cleveland Browns situation, you got all these quarterbacks, right? But you don't really have one, and that's a similar situation now. I think that Russell Wilson is going to be their guy, but he's an aging star. How quickly they hand that baton off to Jackson Dart, I would be shocked if they gave it to him week one, but maybe that happens. I don't think you bring Russell Wilson in to sit him, but you also got Jameis back there, Tommy DeVito. They have one of the more entertaining quarterback rooms. I mean, the personalities in there. I want a Jameis Winston. Can we get just a live stream of him, like each and every practice, every game? But yeah, I don't know that. I think Russell Wilson's best years are probably behind him. So offensively, at the quarterback position, struggling a little bit to find that guy, and I think they're a couple years away. So if Dart is the guy into the future, the future is promising. They have one of the better receivers in the league, in Malik Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy Jr., their running back, showed some good things last year in his rookie campaign. By the way, they drafted Cam Scatabo. So,
they did,
yeah,
yes.
And I'd love to see. I don't know if we're going to see him very much on the field, but yeah, man, can he translate some of that game into the NFL? That would be really sweet.
He's a giant head.
He's like Mike Allstott for the 2020s. Like, can we get something like that? That would be fun. So offensively, they have a couple of young pieces there. I just don't think they're ready yet offensively to hang in this division. The defensive line is decent. They signed Abdul Carter, so that's that's one of their big draft picks. The cornerback you were mentioning, Adebo,
that's the name I couldn't remember.
So they kind of went after some of those pieces, but I think they're going to be slightly better. I got them at 6-11 this year, so
okay.
and maybe winning a game or two within the division. But I think the whole division's really good.
Yeah, it is.
And we'll get into that. But yeah, I got the Giants coming in fourth. All right. Third
is the team that I foolishly last year picked to win the division. I hate to even make you guys recall that, but the Dallas Cowboys I'm putting in third. Last year obviously just plagued by injuries. Dak misses more than half the season. He's healthy, allegedly. They bring in George Pickens to pair with CeeDee Lamb. Trouble for me here, and by the way, new head coach Brian Schottenheimer. Trouble for me, though, is I don't think they've done anything to help their offensive line, which was a weak point last year. They did draft our boy Tyler Booker from Alabama to replace Zach Thomas. But, you're trading one for another there.
Yeah.
I think the offensive line needs to be a lot better than it was last year. Running game was non-existent last year. So can you get that going, Brian Schottenheimer? Let's see. Let me go back to my other screen here.
Well, the running backs this year looks like Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and then they drafted a guy, Jaden Blue.
That's right, Jaden Blue. So some speedsters there possibly, but I think for me with the Cowboys, even if Dak is healthy and even if CeeDee Lamb is everything that we know he is, they play one of the toughest schedules in the league this year. They play 6 non-divisional teams that made the playoffs last year. I'm going to go. Vegas has them at 7.5. I'm going to go under that at 7-10.
Okay, so they finished with an identical record to last year. Yeah, so 7-10 last year, and with this again, we always talk about how injuries can derail a season, especially when you have your quarterback missing part of the season, as Dak did last year. But look, if they have all their starters and you just plug these guys in offensively, they should have one of the best offenses in the league. I'll take into consideration maybe the offensive line isn't as top tier as you want it, but man, they got they do have playmakers offensively, and I do think the Pickens pickup is going to be nice. That takes a little bit of pressure off Lamb, gives Dak another option back there. Running backs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that they did anything big. Obviously last year that was a big story. Their defense was awful last year, and so that's a big concern. Micah Parsons and the drama that we have in the offseason here, is he going to resign with this team? I know he kind of put some words out there that he was done, but I just have a feeling that Jerry's not going to let him walk out the door. So, if he gets some record-setting extension and he's back on board, Trayvon Diggs may miss like a game or two off the top, but I still think this Cowboys team is good, and I think that they're gonna be competitive this year. So a step up from last year. I have them finishing third as well, but I have them finishing with a record of 10-7.
Oh, playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be a playoff team, but I think they hit double-digit wins.
Okay.
All right, let's move into second place in the NFC East.
Now let's go. And what do we know about the NFC East, Scott? About who wins this division? It hasn't been the same team back-to-back since 2004.
Is that that long?
It's 2004. So you got to think that's going to end sometime, right? But I don't believe it's going to end this season. I've got the Eagles finishing second. The tush-push lives on. Vegas actually has the Eagles as the favorite to win this division. But I think there is some regression here because if you look at last year, they had the fourth easiest schedule in the league. They went 7-2 in games decided by a touchdown or less. And you could say, yeah, that's just, they've got that clutch instinct. But this year they got the fourth toughest schedule, and they faced 9 non-divisional opponents that made the playoffs last year. And 6 of those are on the road. So you're just going to, even if you're playing well, and even if all the weapons they have, you're going to take some L's there. I'm not saying they're not going to make a run, but I think they're going to finish 11-6 and make the playoffs, and they could win the Super Bowl, but I don't think they're winning this division this year.
Sorry, so 10-6 is what
I have 11. I have
11-6.
Yeah.
Man, well, again, we're matching up. Did we do this last week too?
I'm sorry, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have Philly sliding back. I do think they are a playoff team. But look, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore out the door. Their defense, they're losing like 8 key members of the defensive side of the ball. You mentioned strength of schedule is a challenge. What do they do well? I mean, they got Saquon Barkley, right? So can he produce at the same level he did last year? Man, I don't know.
That's
that bar is set very high. So I think that even if you can get a healthy Saquon, probably not going to get the same production as last year. The receivers are strong, between Smith and Brown. I think that they're good there. Dallas Goedert remains a pretty good option there at tight end. Defense, I think they were solid defensively, but that's where you lose a couple of guys. So you lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You lose Darius Slay. Let's see, who else? Avonte Maddox signed with Detroit. So, yeah, I mean.
Josh Sweat, right? Did you name him?
Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So, there's some defensive pieces. I think it's just hard to maintain that level that they were at last year. And so, I think first-year offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, I think they see a little bit of a regression there offensively. And I have them coming in at 11-6, second place in the NFC East, but good enough to take one of those wild cards.
Yeah, there we go. Okay,
all right,
let's tell
so
the people
winner.
why we have the Commanders in first.
How about this?
This would be everyone loved this Cinderella story last year, and we saw Jaden Daniels just come out of nowhere and kind of take over the NFL to some degree. So, a lot of people think, well, sophomore slump, but I just don't see that happening. I've seen this guy take over so many games in college at LSU when he was playing for a team that had a terrible defense and just had to ball out every time if they had any chance to win, and he can do it. And the Commanders did some things in the offseason to build around him. They land Deebo Samuel, obviously, and I know as we tape this, the Terry McLaurin drama is playing out. He's asking for an extension. He's in the final year of a 3-year deal. It appears the Commanders aren't willing to give a guy who's about to turn 30 that. So, he could walk. There's trade rumors with the 49ers for some guys, but, I can't make this prediction based on whether or not he's there or not. I just believe even if he's gone, this is going to be a really good team because of what they added. They get Laramie Tunsil in at left tackle. They drafted another tackle in the first round, Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. And they do have the easiest schedule in the division based on opponents' win totals last year. So I think they're going to go 11-6, split with the Eagles, go 11-6, but win the division.
Okay. All right. So they take a step back as well. Yeah, I like Washington a lot. And, of course, the big reason is Jaden Daniels' sophomore slump. Could it be? Yeah, I think it's okay to say that there may be a little bit. I don't think regression is the word, but defenses get smarter, right?
Yeah, right.
So they figured this guy out. There's a lot of talented players and coaches in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball. They're not gonna let this guy do exactly what he did to him last year, I don't think. But he's such a talent that I just can't. That was not flash in the pan,
no.
Right? So I think he's going to come out and still be a force. And I love the fact that they added Deebo Samuel to that offense. I think that's going to make another threat. I don't know if they figure it out with McLaurin. I have a feeling that they probably will. But, Brian Robinson Jr., solid running back. They have another guy, too, let's see, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. So he's a guy that people are talking up as a rookie that could potentially step in there and make an impact. You mentioned Tunsil strengthening that offensive line. That's something they needed to do. Their defense wasn't great last year, but, they did pick up cornerback Marshawn Lattimore last year. And didn't really have the impact that you want. But I think with a full offseason, kind of get on the same page, full health now, I think he's going to get back to his form. Deron Payne's a guy on their defensive line. I think they need to see a little bit more from. So I think the defense steps up. They have some young players on the defensive side of the ball that I think are going to take another step. And I'm just excited about this offense. I think, when you have a guy like that can orchestrate it like Daniels does, there's so many threats when he's on the field. And I think we just saw, if you just take the last part of the season, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that and project that into this season. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Him in the playoffs.
He was so good in the playoffs.
It's like nobody could
Detroit,
figure this guy out.
Yeah.
And the Bucs, obviously, they found out firsthand how you going to play this guy. And that's what teams are going to be worried about here in this coming up in this next season, especially teams in the division. And so, I have them finishing with a record of 12-5, so exactly what they did last year. But this year they're not sneaking up on anybody,
right.
So you're going to have to go blow for blow. This is going to be a heavyweight bout in the NFC East. A lot of good teams here. So I got two division playoff teams in Washington and Philly. Sounds like you got the same.
As I do, yes.
I do have Dallas making a run at it, and so I don't know. I think it's going to be a scrap within the division.
It'll be fun.
And they're gonna chip away at each other, but in the end, how about the Commanders getting it done?
In the end, we'll look back on this and say, none of us picked the Giants to win.
Yeah.
Why didn't we see it coming?
How did you not see Tommy DeVito as MVP? Come on, Tommy Cutlets.
Or Jameis.
My goodness. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to dive into a little bit more NFL talk as we look ahead to the big season ahead, some of the big storylines. And for that, we're going to bring on our guest. ESPN's Field Yates is going to join us, whose middle name is apparently Minister. Brian, doing some deep dive work on Wikipedia leading into this episode.
Good job, BK.
Anyway, he's coming up on the other side. Stay with us. By the end of this week, Chris, we're going to have some preseason football games. The Buccaneers play on Saturday against the Tennessee Titans in preseason game number 1. So a lot of this right now is kind of theory in our head. How's it all going to look? But before you know it, we're going to actually have some games to be discussing.
Beautiful, isn't it?
But when it comes to covering the NFL beat, I'll tell you what, Phil Yates, he does it as well as anybody. He's been with ESPN for many years now. We've seen him in draft coverage and additional NFL coverage. And so we are going to dive into the season ahead as he sees it. Our guest this week on the nodpod, Field Yates.
So we're pleased to have ESPN insider Field Yates with us, and the NFL preseason games are actually kicking off this week in earnest. But I was hoping, Field, that you might be able to give us a little bit more insight closer to home for us. And your read on this Bucs team that seems to be one of the NFC favorites this year. What are your expectations for Tampa Bay?
The offense is, I think, as deep as any in the NFL. The big question mark for the offense right now, at least in my opinion, is when Tristan Wirfs returns to action, an all-pro, top of the food chain type left tackle. But this team has withstood injury in the past, and they're going to have to do so with maybe him and Chris Godwin to begin the season. But they're so deep. They drafted Emeka Egbuka 19th overall and have a player that could step into a starting slot role for a lot of teams. He'll do so at least until Chris Godwin returns for Tampa. But I think what determines the ceiling for this team is really the defense. Can they rush the passer better? Can they cover better in the back end? If they don't this year, it won't be for lack of investment. Obviously, Hassan Reddick, who they spent modest, I would say, sort of big on in free agency. It's very few worlds where spending $14 million is not a ton of money. But in the NFL, if a pass rusher gets only $14 million, we're allowed to use only a pair of corners in the second and third round, Benjamin Morrison, and also, they did Second round was Benjamin Morrison, and then was it the third round?
Jacob Parrish, yeah, they went cornerback.
Yeah, Jacob Parrish was third round. I know it was third or fourth for Jacob, who was a great inside-outside corner at Kansas State, who can absolutely fly, very frisky as well as a corner. So there are definitely a lot of improved pieces personnel-wise on defense. They're going to need them to, because for them to compete with the likes of Philly and Detroit and the Commanders and a couple of other heavy hitters in the NFC, they're going to have to play better defense.
Yeah, you just kind of started to list them off, but I'm curious, as we look at kind of the NFC power rankings, Philly, obviously the defending champs, so you probably start there, but I mean, I don't even know if they're the best team in their division going into this season. If you were to rank the top three right now, is Philly still top of the chain? Where does Detroit, Washington, where do they all fit in there for you?
I've got a bit of an old school mindset where there's deference at the top for me. It's the guys that largely return the core of a team that dominated in both the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. So the Eagles, to me, are a deserving favorite in the NFC. I think the Lions are going to have something to say about that. I think there's a long list of teams that think they have a chance to make some real noise in the NFC this year. I think it would be, in some order, Philadelphia, Washington, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Tampa, and probably Los Angeles as well. Those are the teams that I think are probably deservingly viewed as the likeliest heavy hitters in that conference.
In the NFC South, I mean, I think it's fair to say the Saints and the Panthers kind of in this rebuild. The Falcons are full steam ahead, the Michael Penix show. How competitive do you think the NFC South is? It always seems like it finds itself flushing out in the last week of the season. Do you think it's going to be that close this year, or could a team like the Bucs separate themselves?
I think the Bucs are the best team on paper. Got to play the games, though. I trust the offense as much as anybody. I trust Baker Mayfield more than any quarterback in that division, at least going into the season. Bryce Young and Michael Penix Jr. bring some promise, but Baker, I think, has just become such a rock-solid player. It's not a strong division. This is a division that probably is the weakest in the league, or at least on the short list, along with the AFC South. So it's very winnable for Tampa Bay. And while we only have one bye as opposed to two, just to be at a higher spot in the pecking order in the NFC this year is always important. The Bucs obviously saw last year what it looks like to have to play against that top wild card team, being the Commanders last season. There's some value to, I get it. You want to win as many games as possible, but it's especially important because I don't think the teams that are going to be vying for like the 7th playoff spot in the NFC, I think, are weaker on average than the teams that will be doing the same thing in the AFC.
We're going to take a quick timeout with Field, but then on the other side, we're going to dive into a little bit more fantasy football talk as you guys get your rosters set up for the season.
I need
ahead.
all the help I can get.
We wait till when? We don't draft until what? The week before the regular season.
Wait till the last
second, right? Injuries. We got to watch those. That's more coming up on the other side. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. So if the Angry Manatees are number one on the clock in the fantasy football draft this year, who are we taking?
Oh, my gosh. We are, remind me, are we a PPR league?
Sure.
Okay. I'm probably going Jamar Chase.
Are you?
Or Josh Allen.
Okay. All right. Not a Saquon Barkley. Seems like Saquon would be the
like
pick.
you said earlier, I just don't see him replicating those numbers.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if you're right. Let's dive into our discussion with Field Yates from ESPN.
I know some of the offseason storylines have been dominated by contract negotiations, holdouts, that kind of thing with Micah Parsons and in Washington as well with Terry McLaurin. But what are some of the other big storylines that you think are really the ones to keep an eye on here as the regular season is ready to kick off?
Yeah, I'd say, can the Chiefs offense get back on track? They made the Super Bowl again last year. They got pummeled by Philadelphia, obviously. How much does a revamped offensive line and on paper a better wide receiver core matter for this team that I think is going to have others in its division nipping on the heels here? Like, I think that the Broncos and and Chargers feel like they're already breathing down the Chiefs' neck, and they've got a real shot to win this division. The Raiders are going to be competitive as well. I think the 2024 draft class for quarterbacks is really fascinating. Jaden Daniels has already established himself as what he is. On top of that, Bo Nix showed a ton of promise last year. What do we get out of Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Penix Jr.? I think there's an optimistic view on all of them, deservedly. Do half of them become stars by the end of this season? Just one? All of them? We'll see, but that class has the chance to become very, very special.
All right, Phil, let's talk a little fantasy football. Draft strategy, always very important. What players do you think are poised for breakout seasons this year, and maybe some players that we ought to not take the bait on?
Yes, we just sort of dove into some of the breakout candidates. I do think it's Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze in Chicago, two guys who were drafted last year, each in the top 10. First for Caleb, ninth for Rome Odunze, in that Ben Johnson offense. Drake May definitely offers some promise for the Patriots, a guy who averaged nearly 8 yards per carry last year, really good scrambler. That's important for quarterbacks in fantasy. J.J. McCarthy, another example. Ricky Pearsall for the 49ers, a first-round pick from last year. The guys that make me nervous, Breece Hall's definitely one from the Jets. Could this be a player who's more in a committee than he is a standalone workhorse back for the Jets? He's being drafted around other players who have clear paths to starting, but it sounds like the Jets are pretty determined to get some other guys involved in the running game this season.
We all look at the numbers that Saquon put up last year and think, okay, he's got to be the clear-cut number one pick in all fantasy drafts. Is your strategy to take running back number one overall? How would you assess?
So Jamar Chase is the number one player on my big board, but it's very, very close between him and Bijan Robinson. There's a healthy case for Bijan to go first overall, given the fact that he plays running back and has an excellent bet to be in the top 5 and total number of touches plus yards plus touchdowns while being a factor in the passing game this year. So it's very close, but on average, I prefer running backs in the first round if I can get an elite one. That being said, number one rule of fantasy drafting, you got to be able to read the room and know how to be nimble and dynamic.
And take advantage of people that don't. Tell us how.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us how our audience, how folks can compete against you. I don't know if they, how they can hang against the bigwigs, the guys, the experts, but how they compete against you in a fantasy football league, and obviously some awesome prizes up for grabs.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out, by going to redbaron.com/takethefield. Free to enter. One person's going to win. That person gets to bring 8 friends and challengers to me in a league, a 10-team league this year, with cash prizes available. If they can find a way to upend me, we'll see whether that happens or not. Going to be a lot of fun. Promise for a great atmosphere. Some trash talk, of course, involved, but call it Phillip Rivers trash talk. It's not really mean. It's well-meaning. It's a good-spirited trash talk on the fantasy football gridiron.
Good stuff. So where can folks go to find some more information if they want to be part of this?
redbaron.com/takethefield.
Very good. He is Field Yates, ESPN Insider, giving us a look at the season ahead, getting you ready. Your draft strategy, always very important as you compete in many leagues. And here's another option for you this football season. Field, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Great to hear his insights. Coming up on the other side, BK has lined up a new game. It's not golf. I thought this was golf when he said the title of it. Closest to the pin.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Which I would lose that for sure, but maybe I've got a chance at this one.
Send it into the drink. All right, we'll see. He'll put us to the test coming up on the No Off Days podcast. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. This is our fourth block, which we call our fun block. And during the break, the little elves from back in the control room, they brought out some toys for us to play with.
You know what this means?
This is part of BK's game.
This means we're going to have to look at my bad handwriting.
Yeah, we're going to be using dry erase pens and leaving our answers on whiteboards. Let's bring BK in. All right, Brian, set this game up again. Give the good people at home an idea of what we're doing.
The game is called Closest to the Pin. What I'm going to do is read you a question, and you give me the answer. And the answer is pretty definite. And then whoever's closest to the pin, closest to the actual answer, gets a point for it.
Okay. You said it was pretty definite. So that means
there are some questions that I'll use the average of. Okay. Kind of like this first question we have.
Nice.
So
okay.
So, and let's do it pretty quick. Let's don't sit here and do 5 minutes per question.
Okay, he's
You
putting us
don't
on the
want us
clock.
to. Okay. Well, you just made a big boo-boo. You can't get this guy to do anything quickly.
No.
So.
And especially don't tell me that we need to do it quickly.
then he's
I'm
going to
drag around
you.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Just like I'm doing now.
We're going to stretch this out. No. Okay. Yeah. All right. Without further ado, take it away, BK.
All right, let's hit that first question.
By the way, there's a coffee stain on my whiteboard.
Oh, is there?
Who's dragging this out now? Let's go.
Okay, this is how many dimples are on the average golf ball being played in the PGA Tour right now?
Ooh.
How many dimples?
Okay.
Okay, I have no idea, but this looks like a good even number. Oh, man, this marker is dry.
I don't know if I like my number. Okay, I'm
All right.
ready.
I have I have 124 more than are on Scott's face. 126.
I have 432.
The correct answer is 336.
Yeah, he was closer, I believe.
I was closer to the pin.
There you go. So
Was.
point for
But
Scott.
I went over. So is this,
if you
okay, this is not
hit
Price
a
is
golf
Right
ball
version?
past the hole, you still get credit for
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, does this have an eraser on it?
No, it's your finger.
Well, there's some. I'll put some napkins up
you
there.
did.
Look at that.
You always
Yeah.
think of everything,
You're so
BK.
considerate. I'll wipe this coffee
All right,
smudge
Scott's
off.
up 1-0, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's the next question. How much does a typical cumulus cloud weigh?
How much does a typical cumulus
Well,
cloud?
there's a lot of water in there.
There's
and
it's
every
these
cloud's a
fluffy
different
clouds up in the
size.
sky. How much do they weigh on average?
Well, I mean, let me text Paul Delgado real quick.
Okay, I'm going to go.
How much does it weigh? Let's say.
Are we doing metric system here, or?
No, this will be English.
All right.
This is probably not even
I'm
close.
going to go 10 pounds.
I'm gonna go 2 tons.
2 tons, so that would be
That would
4,000
fall on our
pounds.
heads.
I don't know.
That-
It's a lot of
they are
rain.
big.
Ready for the answer?
Yeah.
Just my mind. 1.1 million pounds.
Okay. Well, now wait.
Yes.
Can we? What's? Okay.
We should have brought Paul in on this.
1.1 million pounds?
It blew my mind.
How many pounds are in a ton?
2,000.
2,000.
So that's 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you
so-
closest.
Oh, my God. 10 pounds. How about
Wait,
mine?
I don't know if I was. I was closest?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's
I had 10
4,000, yeah,
He had
10
1.1
pounds.
million. How are we alive if there are things floating above us that weigh 1.1 million?
Well,
They say it's
water.
the-
It's vapor.
It's the water droplets. It's the ice crystals in there, and
Oh,
plus it's the
who weighed
actual.
who went up there and weighed a cloud?
I think
don't-
Paul does. In order to be a certified chief meteorologist, you have to.
You have to weigh a
That
cloud.
Have
blew
weighed a cloud.
my mind.
Oh, my gosh.
Insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm way off here. I got to pick it up.
Okay, here we go. You can get you right here. How many stitches are on your typical baseball?
Oh, gee, and these balls and their things.
And we'll the double stitch, so that stitch on each side counts as one.
Oh, the stitch on each side.
Not just
counts
each
as
little
one.
red line. So the double stitch counts as one.
Oh, the double stitch counts as one. That's just
Correct.
one stitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know, but I'm gonna guess.
I'm gonna go. I cannot make this marker work. This says 150. You can't read it, but 150.
Okay.
I'm going 70.
The actual answer is 108.
It says 216.
Well, 216 is each individual. I'm sorry, if each individual stitch. So if you divide that in half, then that's 108. I'm
Okay.
sorry, that was my mistake.
Either way, I think you win.
I don't know.
'Cause you said 150.
But 108. I'm 42 off. At 70, you're
38.
38 off. So
Okay.
you're actually closer.
All right.
Why did I do that math for
I
you?
win again.
I should have
But
just.
I gave the wrong
Yeah.
answer on the board. Ugh.
Well, look, my answer is closer to the one that's on the board.
I'll
Can I
give it
get
to.
that?
Let's give it to Cato. That was the judge's error.
Okay, I don't like that. No,
I
that's
love
not how
that.
these games should be
I
played.
needed that. Thank you, BK.
You're welcome,
Yeah,
Cato.
yeah.
You ready for the next one?
Cato. All right,
Oh,
go.
it's a fun one here. At what age would you pass your billionth second being alive?
At what age?
Yeah, will you be
Billionth second?
when you've been alive for 1 billion seconds?
Okay, all right. There's let's see.
how many
There's
seconds?
60 seconds in a minute.
Yeah, and how many minutes in a day? 24 times 60. And then how many days in a year? Oh, my gosh.
I'm gonna say billionth comes at age. I don't know. This is probably not even close. It's probably some.
I've erased so many times. Okay, this you can't read it, but this says 20.
Mine says 35.
The correct answer is 31.7.
Dang it.
Okay.
I lose
My
again.
math was off just a little bit, but it's a little bit better than Cato's.
How many seconds have I been alive now? So,
How many?
well, let's not say.
Yeah.
A couple bill, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say 1.5 bill.
I weigh as much as a cumulus cloud weighs. Is how much I've been alive.
Why is there a slice of delicious-looking cake, though?
Yeah, it's
I don't
birthday.
understand. Oh, okay.
That looks
birthday.
good. No
We-
candles on
yes.
it. What if
Yeah.
you had to blow out a candle for every
It
second
looks
you were
like
alive?
a tres leches.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
It's
All
almost
right.
time. How about this question? Guys, you know the Bucs hold the worst winning percentage of all time in the NFL. Still currently, even after big winnings. If the Bucs, starting with week 1 this year, went undefeated throughout the regular season and the playoffs, what season would they break the 500 mark?
Okay.
I'm
I'm going to go.
So I would tell you, well, I'm not going to tell you.
If they had to go undefeated
I'm gonna
every
say-
year.
Every year, regular season and playoffs, from here till when,
From here to eternity.
what season would they eventually break the 500 mark?
Again, you can't read this
I'm not
because
sure.
this marker doesn't work. But
Sorry.
this is 2032.
Mine is 2030.
Cato, dead on it.
On the dot.
It's the 2031 season. The Super Bowl that year would be 2032. If they
Ooh.
went undefeated the entire year, boom.
All right. No pressure, guys.
That would be year what for Brady after he comes out of retirement?
That'll be the new Tampa's new stadium, and they'll be hosting.
Isn't that insane, though? I mean, being that
sh-
far, there are 139 games under 500.
That's saying a
All
lot.
right. Well, they're playing the long game.
There were
Yeah.
some dry seasons back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, let's stick with the NFL theme. How many NFL MVPs have been won by Dallas Cowboys? Storied
Okay.
franchise.
How many NFL MVPs?
Yes, have been won by,
Not Super Bowl MVPs.
no, NFL league MVPs.
Different players, or how many times has it been won by a?
Let's do different players.
Different players. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna say.
I can only think of this many, although it's probably wrong.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm right here.
I had 3.
I went 4.
Ooh, the correct answer is 1. Emmitt Smith has been
Ooh.
the only MVP.
What
about that?
about our boy Troy Aikman? What about
Roger
Roger
Staubach.
Staubach?
No.
Okay.
According
Okay,
to this website I was on.
all right, I'll take that one then. I was closer,
What's the score?
closer to the pin.
What's the score?
Well,
Are we
I've
tied up?
I've gotten 2 right on my own, but then you gave me a third one, so
we're 3-3.
Okay.
Wait. What were the 2?
Well, this one.
And then the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl one with the Bucs. I mean, the last 2 we've had, I got right.
The last 2.
And then
Then you gave him that.
the stitching.
The stitching, yeah.
But I can do without the stitching.
Okay.
All right.
So I think I'm up 4-3.
No, that was a 6-1, so that's 3-3.
That's impossible.
You're having trouble counting. You were on vacation for too long.
You ready?
Yeah.
Barry Bonds is the all-time leader in walks. Just in walks alone, how many miles did Barry Bonds cover
Oh my
through all
gosh.
those walks?
Well, let's see.
Go ahead and
Okay.
calculate.
Was it 90 feet to the?
It's 90 feet. Carry the one. How many miles? Is that what we're doing? In
How many miles has he covered just from walks alone?
I'm gonna say.
This is going to be ridiculous. This is going to be way over. How many feet in a mile? Siri, how many feet in a mile? Oh, I can't do that.
52,
What
50.
number did he wear?
Whoops.
Oh, he just
Well,
looked it up.
Well, I didn't. She started talking.
What number did he wear?
44?
No,
I
I
don't
think
know.
he was number 25, or was he 22? I'm gonna say 25.
I'm going to say 44.
Cato, boom, 43.6 miles.
Well, he did also just Alexa it, so.
No, that was Siri, by the way, and
Okay.
she didn't tell me because I shut her up. She listens to everything. I think I won. I think I surpassed.
That's it?
I started off slow.
There's no more.
I got a few more if you want to keep going.
Yeah, I do.
I'll give
Okay.
them a chance to
I want
tie.
to keep going.
In a typical game, how many baseballs are used?
Typical.
Yeah, so this is that average. Average game,
Yeah.
how many baseballs are used?
Okay.
Major League Baseball game.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say on average they go 2 per inning. I'm gonna go 18.
Oh, my gosh.
How many numbers are you writing there?
I've got a triple digit here. I can't write it because this marker doesn't work, but 105 baseballs.
In a game?
Yeah.
What?
People are fouling them. Your pitcher doesn't like them. He throws them back.
105 baseballs?
Yeah,
There's no way.
They go through them like they go through sunflower seeds.
No.
Yes, they do. Think about how many times the pitcher doesn't like the ball. The catcher throws it, give me another one. They do it all the time. Foul balls.
What do we
in
got?
the stands.
You're probably right, but what do we got?
The answer, 108.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Cato.
Yeah.
I wrote 108. Look at my board.
You want me to pick your lottery
Look,
numbers?
look at my board. I wrote the exact number.
You said 18.
No, look.
He just put a tiny 0 between the 1 and the 8. This guy.
Sorry, I was thinking my son's Little League games. All right. Okay. You got one more?
Yeah, I got one more here. This is a
Oh,
pretty
my
good
gosh.
one. What is the temperature that tennis balls at Wimbledon are kept?
Okay. Is this, are we doing in Fahrenheit?
This is Fahrenheit, yeah.
Okay.
This is
Tennis balls at Wimbledon.
You want them as cold as possible, as cold as you could possibly get.
Just like the champagne of the patrons in the stands.
I'm going to say, but just above freezing. You don't want frozen tennis balls. That's not good.
Why not?
Right?
That could be fun.
Well, they shrink. Let's see. I'm going to go 34 is what I'm going to say.
Why would you want a ball that cool? I don't know.
You want them nice and cold.
I think 70 is a good number.
No,
for tennis
it's
ball.
way too hot.
That's not
34
hot.
degrees.
the answer.
Yeah.
68 degrees.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
You need to quit,
Cato.
Scott. You need to quit. I'm too good at this.
I'm going back on vacation.
Great job.
Why would you
Cato.
want a 34-degree tennis ball?
I know.
That makes no sense.
I don't know. I've never thought about the temperature of a tennis ball before. You want it like, what is 68? Why do they keep it 68?
Because
it's going to heat up as they play. But you don't want it
Right,
to
but
get
it's
too
like
hot.
it's just
it's a constant temperature, and they don't want like balls sitting out where it gets hot, so those balls be more bouncy. They want all the tennis balls to be 68 degrees, and that's why they kind of rotate them out.
so when it's hot, it's more bouncy.
yeah,
Well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, all I can tell you is I like the smell of a freshly opened can.
that's
of tennis
awesome.
balls.
We
I
did
don't
the
like your
smells
smell,
one
and
time.
I don't like this
Forgot
game,
that.
and I don't want to play it anymore.
Oh, you didn't like that game? I thought it was a fun game, man.
I like
We'll-
it,
we'll
BK.
try it
You
again.
can bring that back anytime.
I liked how it started, and then as soon as you gave him the free one,
He took off.
he took off. You put wind in his sail. I was trying to just take him out in the first round.
Oh.
Golly. All right. Closest to the pin.
Is not closest to Scott's heart.
No. Well, I didn't do well at it.
Sorry.
But we did do well talking to Field Yates today. Much thanks
Yes.
to our guest, getting us ready for the NFL season. And much thanks to our studio crew. We got Rochelle over here on the jib. We got Chris on the ones and twos. Anybody in the booth today doing audio? That's why you can't hear us. Ronnie and his kitty litter cake doing his thing back there. Does he have his shoes on? No shoes.
Scott, one
No
more thing.
shoes.
One more thing happened while you were away. I need to
Yeah.
tell you about. We were actually canceled by management. No, this podcast is going out. We're just sitting here
This is
doing
just
this for your
recording.
entertainment.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, what else is new? That's what we've been doing for a couple years now. Very good. All right, until the next time we're on, there are no off days.